Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm Julie Jarvie. I'm one of the committee members on the East Anglia branch of IIRSM. Welcome along to our first seminar of 2025, and we're going to be hearing from Pete Spillard today, and I will tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. Just some housekeeping, so Pete will do his presentation, and we kindly ask that Pete will take questions at the end, which will just be a bit easier for us managing that on the webinar. And if you can put your questions in Q&A, or when we get to the end, you are very welcome to raise your hand and you can actually ask your questions. You will see that we are recording this session. And as a reminder, I will remind you at the end, but the recording will go into the member resource hub. So if you are a member, you'll be able to access it. If you're not a member and joining us, that's great, but you won't have access to the recording, I'm afraid. So just to introduce Pete Spillard, I've been working with Pete and his team for about 3 years now. And my role in Anglian Water was been looking at getting some controls and better support for our mobile plant. So we've been looking at people-plant interface and protecting people that have to work near or around our large mobile plant. So we've been looking at things like telehandlers, and great big dumpers and excavators and what we could do with that. And Pete will go into a lot of detail about what his company does. But we have utilised the human form recognition cameras and a digital thumbs up system. So we've seen how we can improve safety in our organisation. So now I'll hand over to Pete, and he's going to talk to us about solutions to managing people-plant interface, what his organisation does. Particularly where there is poor vision from within the vehicles. So there's two aspects he'll be telling us about. And the first one being the direct vision standards for HGVs. And the second is the technology for mobile operators plant. So I'll hand over now to Pete to do his presentation. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Julie. Hello all. Thanks for the opportunity to present. Yeah, I'm Pete Spillard, Managing Director of Spillard Safety Systems. 32 years ago, we developed what we believed was the first convex mirror for construction equipment. We use it to naturally improve or naturally enhance an operator's field of vision. This particular mirror was developed for 100-ton haul trucks working at Wimpey Mining in Fosslas. Because of that convex mirror, because of what we developed and how we were naturally trying to enhance visibility, it was actually difficult to get this convex mirror or the concept of improving an operator's field of vision through to our customers. So this is over 30 years ago. So what we actually started to produce was visibility blind spot maps. So these visibility blind spot maps allowed us to understand where the fields or the restricted field of vision is. So we did visibility studies from anything from telescopic handlers, wheel loaders, through to site dumpers, through to 150-ton haul trucks. This particular haul truck here, on the visibility studies, each of the squares, if you can just about see those squares, represent the blind spot that's created from the driver's position. So the blue area is that blind spot, and these are the studies that we've been creating now for nearly 30 years. So it's why are we having challenges on site? Why are we still having these challenges with moving vehicles? We've installed convex mirrors, reversing cameras, 360-degree cameras now for, as I say, nearly 30 plus years. But struck by moving vehicles is the second highest fatality rate in construction industry. We think because of the work that we've actually been doing, we actually understand why there's an issue around or the challenges that we see on site, and we believe that a small part of it is down to restricted direct vision. And this restricted direct vision has started to come through because of things like noise reduction, so ISO standards around noise reduction on new machines, emission reduction. All this accounts for engine bays and engine covers becoming bigger. We look at ergonomics, and the design of machines has lent itself to restrict more and more direct vision. And then we take reduced tail swing. So this is a safety feature to stop the crush hazards, but it increases the height of the engine cover. So what this actually means is that because of these visibility studies, and I go back to, we think, we believe, or we know why there is these incidents still on sites, is that if we take a visibility study that was created in 2003, the detection zone at the front, so this, again, going back to this, the blue area is the restricted visibility around this machine. In front of this machine, we can't see for nearly 9 meters. So you have restricted visibility for nearly 9 meters. Now we go to 2018, when we've incorporated new ISO standards around emissions and noise reduction and ergonomics. This particular telehandler now cannot see for nearly 43 meters in front of the, or on the offside of that telehandler. If we look at a dozer, again, 2003, the visibility around that machine, or the restricted visibility around the machine is quite good. We look at 2019, and again, this blue area is where the restricted visibility is from after we've looked at, again, noise reduction, emissions, or even ergonomics. We can look at it and take it to an excavator, so a typical 20-ton excavator that you would see on any construction site in the UK. We go back to 2001 with our visibility studies, and we see that the restricted visibility, yeah, it's not great, but at least it's not, when we look at 2023, where we have infinite restricted visibility around the machines. So this is where we try to understand and try to look at why we are seeing problems still with construction machines. Again, another example, 2001 wheel loader, and we see that you've got the areas of restricted visibility have increased again up to 2020. So when we look again at direct vision standards, so direct vision standard is a standard for vehicles traveling into London. It has the same issues. It has the same issues as we have with construction machines, and that is restricted visibility. So a direct vision standard is to reduce the number of fatalities in London caused by large vehicles and vulnerable road users. And it is, again, back to the issue around visibility or restricted visibility. So we look at a particular commercial vehicle, same as what we've done with visibility studies over the years, and we look at these two machines. So this is a concrete mixer and a tractor unit for a articulated tractor unit. Again, we have issues around visibility. We have issues around direct vision. And unless we start to look at radical redesigns of construction equipment, then we're never going to reduce this issue around the fact that an operator wants to see. We train all our operators, we train from day one when we learn to drive, mirror signal maneuver. What we haven't told anybody is that we can't see around these machines. So again, unless we've got radical redesign, which construction hasn't gone down, but commercial vehicles seem to be going in that direction, that they are looking at radical redesigns around visibility. And this is an example of a low entry cabbed vehicle that has improved its visibility. That's two comparisons there where we see about 40% reduction in restricted visibility because of that particular machine. But if we don't go down the route of radical redesign, where are we actually going to go? Well, the route that we are looking at is maybe technology, and the technologies that we can move into the different industries. So if we look at commercial vehicles, we've got the direct vision standard, which is London, which then this year is now progressive safety standard, that is looking for AI or human detection to detect vulnerable road users along the near side and across the front of commercial vehicles. So just a quick video to show you how it actually works.
Person detected. Person left. Person detected. Person left.
So what you've just seen there is human detection. Human detection is a solution that we've got, which is an AI camera that has been programmed with over 1 million data sets now to recognize a human form, human shape, human characteristics. And we've put it into the commercial vehicle market, as you saw in that video. When somebody is detected, we tell the operator of that machine. We've also now started to move it into plant, so people-plant interface. So we try to put, or we do put a cameras or human detection cameras around a machine and alert the operator to where there is somebody that has strayed into a specific detection zone. So another video just to show you how this actually works.
Person rear.
So we break the
Person
machine
front.
up into quadrants, and then we actually tell the operator that there's somebody around the machine. So it's all about the technologies and the technologies that are out there. In the simplest form, we can use 3D 360 cameras. So it gives a bird's eye view of anybody around that machine. So when we go back to the issues on sites and the challenges that we have around indirect vision, we can improve visibility all the time. We can improve visibility by providing 360 cameras or human form recognition, the technology that's around to be able to improve, improve all-round awareness. But what this has also led us to is the fact that we are also creating a large amount of data. So we are creating a large amount of data. So these challenges that we have on sites and how we reduce the incident rate, we have to look at different ways. So not only technology, but also the data that actually comes from it. So every single system is installed with cameras, and we are actually pulling live video feeds. So these video feeds we can actually use to start to learn and educate our workforce. So these challenges is how we change everything, how we change cultures and behaviors on site. So this example here is an excavator. If you see in the top right hand corner, you'll see the plan view of an excavator. The red items are actually showing you where the cameras are located on that particular machine. This is a person that's operating a machine. He's digging. You've got a person to the right hand side that's actually walking down the blind spot of a machine. From the data and the video footage that we're actually gaining, we can actually train, educate around the blind spot. So another example of this is it could be that we change our site layouts. So all these challenges we have on site, we can use technology to be able to change the way that we change our cultures, our behaviors, and this in the simplest form is site layouts. So if we look at this video, I'll let it roll a little bit further. You've got two gated areas where they're walking across a haul road. Guy to the left is walking through an area where the excavator is actually operating. One of the guys is saying, why are you walking through here? And he's just pointing to the site layout or the safe walkway, but he's actually walked through the danger zone of an excavator. So we start to learn about site layout from the data that we're actually picking up. We've got this example here, which is an articulated dump truck. He's driving down a haul road. Somebody walks out from behind another machine or a truck, and he's then complaining that the ADT driver's in the way. Again, it's about us learning and educating so that we change these challenges that we have on site. So this is a particular example of traffic management. Machine fit for intended purpose. Again, we've got the machine that is loading the skip with metal. The guy takes a step back, yet we've got somebody supervising it. So is the machine there for the intended purpose? These questions can be asked because of the data that we're actually gathering and what we're actually putting together. So this one's pedestrian segregation, and this one's quite a good video and a good example of how incidents can happen on site and how we can train and we can educate. So just to explain this video to you, you've got a guy walking towards an articulated dump truck. The dump truck actually stops because he believes that the guy is going to walk past him. You'll see that the ADT starts to move again, because the guy has been distracted by the person in the excavator calling over to him. So I'll let that carry on playing through. He's now stopped. He's been disturbed by the person in the excavator and the excavator. So it's all about how we learn, we educate, and how we actually try and train this out of what's happening, all these challenges that we're seeing. Again, a further video, another one. So this is culture and behavioural change, maybe. So these guys have been talking to the operator. The operator doesn't actually give them enough time for them to walk away before he starts slewing around on the excavator. So it's again, all this data that we're actually finding and what we're actually talking about starts to change behaviours and cultures around what we're doing, so we can remove these challenges that is on site. So the final one here, guy's walking up to the back of the excavator, kicks a bit of wood out the way, decides he wants to clean up, so he's picking these sticks up, yet is within 4 meters, 3 meters of a working excavator. So it's all about these culture and behavioural changes that we're starting to learn from the information that we're gathering when we started around blind spot maps, but this is where it's actually taking us at the moment. So we've got all this information, we've got this detail, we're talking about how we change culture and behaviours. But for me, we also need to look to the future. And I think for this, the future is all about collaboration. It's all about how does your supply chain collaborate? How does your different safety suppliers collaborate? We can't all do it together. Yes, we can provide the video footage. Yes, we can provide whatever we do, but we can't all do it. We need to collaborate. So this is an example of a collaboration between 4 different partners that have come up with a way of actually controlling machines. So we're actually controlling the machines using a lot of different data, a lot of different machine control, whether it's 3D avoidance, whatever it is, to be able to actually control the data. So we take the data, we take the video, and we collaborate together to actually come up with different solutions. So this particular solution is back to an excavator that has control mechanisms in them. So as soon as the person is detected within the red zone of an excavator, it actually stops the machine. So it will actually stop the machine. So this is where we talk about collaborative approaches, and collaboration is how we get to a safer and how we remove the challenges on site around what we're actually seeing. So again, this machine slewing round towards the person, detects them and actually stops the machine. So this is how we look at the challenges and how we change the challenges. So for as long as I've ever been presenting these, I always used to finish on this slide, just saying that visibility is only a small part of the safety jigsaw. But the reason I've put it up here is because we now have different learnings, because we now have different mechanisms that are coming into us with data, with video, with whatever else. We can actually reword this in a different way. So yes, we can segregate our vehicles and pedestrians, and that is the key priority. But we've now got the video evidence and the video data to be able to understand how we segregate our vehicles and pedestrians. We can review our existing and established traffic routes because we can see it on the video. So we can start to reduce the actual incident rate, and we can start to reduce it by looking at what we've got. And that's how we get around the challenges around construction machines and how we get around the challenges with HGVs. Now, I always finish on this slide. This slide is taking us back to the visibility studies on typical vehicles that we see on the road today, whether it's a concrete mixer on the left-hand side or whether it's a articulated tractor unit on the right-hand side. Each of these squares is 0.5 metre. The whole of the blue area is a blind spot. All I would say to everybody that's listening is, don't get around these machines. Don't undertake them. You cannot be seen on when they're sat up in that cab, they cannot see the information. So that's everything. That's my presentation. Hopefully there's plenty of questions. I'm quite happy to field them. And that's about it. It's about me trying to get over that there's blind spots around these machines. There's blind spots around road transport vehicles, and we are looking at all different technologies to be able to remedy these problems. The ideal solution is go back to the beginning and radically redesign and improve people's direct vision, improve the operator's direct vision, increase their all-round awareness, and allow them to operate the machine safely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Pete. That was taking us through those two different elements. And as I said at the beginning of the presentation, it's something that we adopted the human form recognition in Anglian Water, in our construction side of the business. And our biggest learning from that has been about the behaviours. It has been fascinating to see, trying to understand the behaviours, and with the videos recording, we've been able to see what operatives are doing. There's a lot of complacency. People are just forgetting that how big this plant is, these vehicles are, and they're a bit complacent that, oh yeah, my mate who's driving that vehicle, might be my brother, my mate, I've worked with him for years, is never going to hit me. But these things do happen. They're operating a very large bit of plant, aren't they? So it has been interesting, and to take the videos and use them for training purposes, but also for incident investigations. So yeah, there's been great value there. I was just going to have a couple of questions. We've got a question in the chat as well, which I will ask you in a moment. Just wanted to ask about the vision standards in London, because they're now a legal requirement for people that have those vehicles. So we see it on buses as well as other large sort of HGVs, etc. Do you think that standards will be rolled out wider? At the moment, I understand it's just in London, but do you have any feel from working with the industry and on these progressive safety standards it will go further?
Yeah, I think it will, Julie. I think that obviously London has pushed this case forward because of the unfortunate fatalities that we've seen through large HGVs colliding with vulnerable road users. And I think it will move forward. I think it's progressed a lot quicker than, so originally 2015 we saw ultrasonic sensors applied to commercial vehicles if they couldn't meet there's a star rating for manufacturers that categorize the stars or the visibility around trucks. So unless you can't meet that star rating, you then have to put the technology on. Well, now we've progressed to human form recognition, human detection systems. It's also been adopted within Europe under GSR, which is the General Safety Regulations. So truck manufacturers now have to fit this technology as standard. So we are starting to see from the 1st of July last year, trucks that are actually installed with this equipment from day one. So I think that will push the different cities around the UK to actually retrofit maybe to this standards, because we have seen a reduction of incidents within London through what has been done.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think your reminder at the end, it's, you know, what industry we work in, just from a personal perspective, we're all pedestrians at some point, aren't we? And just being aware that these large vehicles can't see you, they're having to maneuver around in sort of small streets, and, you know, bin lorries reversing, that kind of thing. It's just, you know, it is good for us to be aware. And if we're a cyclist, super important to realise that these vehicles just have no visibility when you're there. So that's excellent.
And I think that's quite key to it all, is that we have this perception that somebody is sat high above all the other traffic, and that we make that presumption that they can see. Unfortunately, they can't, and this is why we do all these safe days and changing places events, to try and educate everybody that there is an issue around these machines and vehicles. And we shouldn't hide behind, or shouldn't we? We shouldn't hide away from the fact. We should promote it, because then we keep the vulnerable road users safe.
Yeah, yeah. We've got a question from Gareth, and he's asking, is there anything that enhances the interaction with the operatives? So I presume that means the driver, the plant operative.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I sort of skipped around how the technology was, because I was trying to get the message over about visibility and trying to show what we can do to combat these challenges. But yeah, within the cab, we actually, and it doesn't matter whether it's a construction or whether it's a heavy goods vehicle, we actually tell the operator where the person is around the machine or around the truck. So we'll actually tell them person left, person right, person front. So that's where it increases and improves the all-round awareness of that operator. So not only do we put convex mirrors on that naturally enhances their visibility. So a convex mirror, you look into the convex mirror to see down into a blind spot. We also improve that interaction through spoken word. It's the most powerful way of actually telling somebody where somebody is in their vicinity around the machine, rather than a bleep, rather than something on a screen that they have to identify. We tell them instantly that there is somebody front, left, rear, back, whichever.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. We've got someone, Interpal is asking for a copy of the presentation, and that will be available to everyone. That's no problem. We have already made arrangements for that, so you'll get access to Pete's presentation. That's what everyone that's put questions in so far. Anyone want to put their hand up, raise a hand, ask a question, or pop in the chat or the Q&A if you've got any further questions for Pete? It has been a whistle-stop tour through the areas that you're involved in, but yeah. So we've got a hand up here from Gareth. So you'll be unmuted, Gareth, to ask your question.
Great. Am I unmuted?
You are. Yes.
Yeah,
Thanks, Gareth. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. It's super interesting, and it's great to see the technology coming on with that. I appreciate you said about the interaction then with the person in the cab to tell them whereabouts these people or potential hazards or people are on the machine. Is there anything then that kind of relays that back to the operatives on the ground? So it's more thinking of that kind of machine operator being almost like that single point of, you're relying on that person to do that, as well as educating that back down to the guys on the ground. So is there a way like to have that two-way conversation, or potentially something between the actual people who are the ones at risk, if that makes sense?
So we use a simple external speaker, especially on construction machines. So we have a speaker that actually tells them to move away. So the way that the system all works is we actually define a detection zone all the way around either a truck or a excavator. And when somebody breaks that detection zone, it does actually say, just move away, nice and simple.
Nice.
So that it actually interacts with your workforce as well. We also put flashing lights on the external as well. So if we're in a noise sensitive area, we can disable the external speaker and have, say, magenta flashing lights or something that's different to what you've already got on sites or on vehicles, so that you can actually know that you've broke that detection zone. So if you've got enforced exclusion zones around plant or around road vehicles or forklift trucks, we try to say, how quick can we get into that detection zone, or how do we know what that detection zone is? With AI and the way we've developed it, we know what it is every single day. So as soon as they break that, say, 5-meter exclusion zone, it will tell them, move away. And that starts to work with muscle memory, so that people start to literally take a step back, and we always know that there's people away from machines now.
Yeah, Peter, it might also be worth mentioning about the digital thumbs up. So that's a mechanism for people approaching safely. Yeah,
sorry, that was something I'd missed out of the presentation. So part of the HFR, the human form recognition system, is that the systems only ever work when the machine is active. So if the machine or truck is safe, so if you've got your handbrake on or any safety lead, machine's isolated, the system doesn't work. So what we've included in that is a thumbs up system. So externally, you will have a green thumbs up. so that when it's safe to approach the machine and the machine has been isolated, the operator can press a button to illuminate this green thumb to allow them to say that it's safe to actually approach. When the machine is operating, it has a red no entry sign. So it allows us another bit of interaction between operatives and the operator.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks for your questions, Gareth. Anyone else got any other questions? We haven't got any in Q&A, and the last moments, speak now. If you've got anything to ask, pop your hand up or pop in the chat if you've got a question. As I said, we will pop the slides in the portal, so you'll have access to the slides, and you'll have Pete's contact details if you wanted to ask any other questions about the sort of details, perhaps of the studies and things that have his organisation have done over the years. And I think one of the key things that has been really good about working with Pete is the collaboration piece, which he talked about. He's a very humble person, and you know, he's never a salesman, but always wants to work with people, work with companies, work with organisations, work with the supply chain to make sure that, you know, everyone works together, that, you know, ultimately it's about keeping people safe. You know, and that really is an ethos of his organisation, and just that, yeah, collaboration with lots of different organisations. And there have been various studies with universities that have looked at the technology, not just the technology from Spillards, but the technology and from other companies as well, and looked at how that works. So there's lots of different studies out there. So that's been a great presentation today. Thank you very much for your time and presenting to us, Pete. Thank you very much to all the attendees. So as a reminder, the recording will be in the resource hub, as well as a copy of the presentation. And a big thank you, and look out for our next webinars, and we'll be advertising those as we go through the year. Our aim is to do one a month. And if you have got any particular subjects you'd like to hear about, or if anyone would like to do a presentation yourselves, don't hesitate to contact us and do that. So thank you very much for your time, everyone, and goodbye. Enjoy your evening.
Thanks so much.